feed him, I fed him before adding them because he's been spitting at me while I was doing some changes, while I was taking off the hang back filter. Okay guys, so I think Bloop is ready to meet his new friends. This is gonna be the big reveal. Okay?
Hey guys, so welcome back to FNC Aquatics, and this is kind of a serious and sad video because Bloop here has been sick for a while now. He is suffering from the Dwarf Gourami Disease, and if you have been in the hobby for a while, you already know that a lot of Dwarf Gouramis are available in the market. The ones available in your pet shops or your local breeders have this disease. So it's very common among Dwarf Gourami species, and it is 100% mortality rate. So if you buy a dwarf gourami, just take note that there's a high chance, almost 95% or 90%, that they will have the dwarf gourami disease. And right now, Bloop has been showing some symptoms, and it only showed up like 2 weeks ago. And before that, he was doing fine. He was still very active, very happy. He would always come up to me when I'm feeding him, and sometimes he would even eat from my hand. But now, just 2 weeks ago, the symptoms have started to show. And as you can see from this clip here, this is the first time Bloop has ever jumped out of his tank. And I was just cleaning his tank and I heard a small splash and then a thud. Thankfully, just dropped in this water diffuser I made. And as you can see, when I put him back in the tank, he became erratic. So the very first symptom I've noticed from Bloop is him being very shy. He stopped coming near to me. He stopped eating from my hand. He would hide behind the driftwood and the filter when I'm near the tank. And then a few days later, he just stopped eating. And sometimes he just gets very, very erratic. He would chase the black neon tetras and just swim around in circles. But most of the time, we just stay in a corner or at the bottom of the tank and just stay there for long periods of time. So in this clip here, I'm taking out some water from his tank because I'm doing his regular treatment. And even though I know that the dwarf Grammy disease is uncurable, I still have hopes that if I keep on doing some medication with him, he will at least get better or at least live a little more longer. So just like how I treat my other fishes, I'm using methylene blue. Methylene blue is a good general aid for fishes. It detoxifies them from any poisoning from ammonia, nitrite, and nitrates. It helps with fungus and just a lot more benefits I couldn't mention in this video. I'm also using this general aid. This is more specifically made for parasites like gill flukes and the such. So basically, it's just gonna help just in case Bloop has any other diseases. So as you can see, I'm trying to get him out of his tank, and it's not really fighting that much. It's just because it's very lethargic. So while I'm doing all of that, I'm gonna explain to you a bit about the dwarf gourami disease. So I did some research before, and now I have an article opened up. So I'm gonna share with you. This is from aquariumscience.org. So basically, just the same thing from what I've seen in the videos I've watched about dwarf gouramis and the articles I have read before. The dwarf gourami disease is caused by the interbreeding or inbreeding of dwarf gouramis throughout the years because they have become very popular. There has been a high demand for dwarf gouramis in the fish keeping hobby, and because of that, a lot of pet shops, a lot of fish breeders have been breeding them a lot. And yeah, it's very common in the fish keeping hobby that certain species of fish have developed this kind of disease that only affects that specific species because of inbreeding. Just like neon tetras, the neon tetras have been very popular in the fish keeping hobby, and they have also developed this neon tetra disease, which stops them from living very long, and sometimes they just die overnight. So that is the same case with the dwarf gourami disease. Due to interbreeding and inbreeding, it has been developed throughout the years, and it only affects the dwarf gouramis. So it's not contagious in any way to other fishes. So just like what the article says here, the wild dwarf gouramis does not have this disease. They are not affected by it. So yeah, that really explains why the dwarf gourami disease have come from the inbreeding or interbreeding of the dwarf gouramis in the fish keeping market. So here's Bloop now in his tank. I'm gonna leave him there for 15 minutes up to 30 minutes and gonna put him back in the tank. One thing about the dwarf gourami disease as well is that it's very hard to detect, especially in the early stages of life, just like what aquarium science says here. It stays dormant for like 6 months to a year in the dwarf gourami's life, and then it just pops up the next day and just kills them. Symptoms starts to show up, and then they just pass away. So this is Bloop the next day. So I actually put him back in his bucket the next morning, but unfortunately, after like a few minutes, he just passed away. I already saw him in his tank, not moving that much, but I thought I would give him another bath. Maybe that would make him feel better because usually he does get a little more active when I after his hospital bath. But unfortunately, Bloop has passed away. And yeah, Bloop is very special to me. He is my very first dwarf gourami. And the reason why I got him, even though I knew about the dwarf gourami disease, is because I was just hoping that I will get lucky and Bloop won't have it. And also, when I got to the pet shop, he was the very last dwarf gourami in there. So I had to get him. So I put him back in the tank inside this water diffuser because maybe he just got kind of paralyzed for a bit and he's not moving that well because I've seen him before not moving under the tank. I thought he was dead. But when I reached for him, he started swimming again. But that's not the case here. He did pass away and later on that day I transferred him in this container just to prep him because I do like to bury my fishes because they're very special to me. So just transferred him here to avoid any ammonia leaks in the 10-gallon tank. And now I'm just gonna wrap him with tissue. And as a fish keeper hobby, I know that a lot of you guys there, especially the fish keepers, can relate, even pet keepers, that there are some days that you can't really avoid losing a pet. You try very hard to keep them happy, to keep them healthy, but sometimes, unfortunately, you just can't really do anything about it. Just know that you tried your best and that you love them as hard as you can. And yeah, just move on. It is painful, but you have to move on and take care of the rest of your pets and just be better. So yeah, that's all for this video. I just want to share with you guys the condition of Bloop, how he has been, and how he passed away. So if you're planning to get a dwarf gourami, do some research about them. And here I am, burying him outside our garden. Rest in peace, Mr. Bloop. It has been nice having you. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye bye.
The reveal of my new addition for my fishes. That is a powder blue dwarf gourami. His name is Bloop. Yeah, his name is Bloop because he's color blue and Bloop sounds derpy, and so he is. I mean, so is he. He is derpy. Look at him. He's looking at his reflection, being derpy. He's a derpy blooper. Bloop. His name is Bloop.